2021 has been a pretty wild year, so I thought we'd try something new on the channel and do a Practical Enthusiast year in review. We'll start off with all the projects that were completed in 2021. The year started off a bit rough with what should have been a straightforward leaf spring replacement on my dad's 1988 Toyota 4Runner. That, of course, unraveled into a multi-month-long head gasket replacement job on its much-maligned 3VZE engine. However, it ended up being a good series for the channel as these older Toyota trucks had become popular, and the 3VZE engine was used in many Toyotas of the time period. I've received plenty of positive comments from all over the world of how the videos are helpful, such as a simple and free fix for resolving the engine's pesky high idle. The next full-fledged project came in the midst of winter while still working on the 4Runner, and that was my adoption of the $300 BMW 325iX touring wagon. I've always loved BMW wagons and still think this is one of the best looking ones they've ever made. A family friend needed to unload it, so I took it on and resolved many of the common E46 faults, and some wagon-specific ones as well, such as an inoperable rear windshield wiper. Many of the videos featured work being done at Blue Label Racing, where I'd been working part-time. It was oh so nice to have access to a lift for that brief period of time. But more on that later. This E46 wagon turned into what was probably the best daily driver one could ask for, but ultimately I decided I couldn't keep it due to lack of space, which you'll find is a common but very real excuse around here. The new owner was a local viewer of the channel, so it was cool to see it go to a good home that appreciated the vehicle and the work that was done to it. With the E46 wagon complete, it gave me time to focus on the Ducati 1198S I had bought in late 2020. This gorgeous motorcycle needed every maintenance item a Ducati could require, and then some. I sank more money into it than I had originally planned, but after looking at the finished result, I really can't complain. I simply could not have bought an equivalent one for anywhere near the $9,000 I put into it. Every time I ride it, it's an event. It's untamed, loud, uncomfortable, and beautiful. Literally everything you want from an exotic Italian machine. Then, in July, came the BMW 530i E39 Sport Manual Slick Top. I'm a sucker for any front-engine, rear-wheel drive manual transmission sedan, regardless of make or model. This particular car is about as enthusiast-oriented as you can get with an E39. That is, without going all the way up to the M5. But the truth is, though, there are way more M5s than there are 530i's spec'd like this one. It has no sunroof. There are no heated seats or vintage sat-nav systems. This car is about as stripped down as an E39 can get in the United States, but it has the options that matter. The two-piece mesh wheels, the thick-rimmed steering wheel and highly bolstered seats, a slick shifting ZF manual transmission, rack and pinion steering with aluminum front and subframe and suspension. Well, it makes a scalpel out of the solid granite E39 chassis. When you throw the blue water metallic exterior paint into the mix, what you're left with is a true under-the-radar performance unicorn. All I can say is I'm highly satisfied with the end result. There were some smaller projects sprinkled in throughout the year, such as a much-needed brake upgrade for the Z, as well as some new battery cables for the Multistrada 1200. I was able to make it out to the racetrack a few times this year, and it's always a great time. I want to make it a goal to get out there at least twice a year. The racetrack is the only place you can unleash a machine without unlawful guilt, and the price of entry is affordable. I used to set a mental roadblock for myself saying, what if I wreck, and all that kind of nonsense, which kept me from doing a track day. A few years ago, I finally ripped the band-aid off and just signed up, and I'm glad I did. The truth is, there's no safer place to push your vehicle, or heck, just have fun with your vehicle. You learn more in 3 laps than you will ever learn in hours of spirited backroad driving. You will quickly discover what modifications and improvements actually matter on your car or bike. Now let's talk about the highs and the lows of this year. In March, I started a new full-time day job, and with that came a work schedule change. What this meant was I no longer had time to work my part-time job at Blue Label Racing. so I had to quit. Unfortunately, that means I no longer had regular access to a lift, so I'm back to paying for alignments and using jack stands in the garage. Another downer this year was the short-lived and nearly non-existent Ninja Zx7 Project. The bike had to go away and won't likely ever return to the channel. I'm not going to get into the details about what happened, but just know I'm pretty bummed about it. I've taken the video of the bike down because it was becoming incredibly popular, and I don't want to get any more viewers excited about a project that ultimately won't happen. Anyway, on the positive side, I got a new video editing rig, so now I can get videos out to you all much faster. I've also started selling parts lists from past projects, as well as offering my first physical product, the E39-530i ABS control module heat shield. It's no secret that YouTube doesn't pay creators very much, unless of course they have a lot of subscribers and a lot of regular viewers. So this is my attempt to bring in a bit more revenue. It's not much right now, but I hope it's the beginning of something that may allow the channel to become a bit more sustainable. As for the channel's growth, it's been on a steady track. The Practical Enthusiast channel gained 5,100 subscribers during 2021, which is up 10% over 2020's 4,600 subscribers. What matters more than those metrics is the genuine outpouring of support that happens on every video. I'm so thankful to have all the helpful and positive comments that are left either on YouTube or received through other social media outlets like Instagram. That alone makes the effort of creating videos worth it. And lastly, I've created a new channel called Back to New, where I focus solely on my passion for restoring and operating remote-controlled vehicles. I decided to separate these videos from the Practical Enthusiast channel because it was clear the RC content was not well received under a motorcycle and car repair channel. I'm often asked where I learned to diagnose automotive issues or how I learned to take on complex repairs. And the answer is it all started with remote control cars. You constantly have to fix them. So, if you have even the slightest interest in RC, be sure to check out the channel and subscribe. I plan to create many more videos there in 2022. And now for looking ahead to the new year. I don't currently have any projects lined up for Practical Enthusiast, and that's okay. In a way, they seem to find me when they're ready. I'm always on the lookout for an interesting vehicle that's a good deal that can be featured on the channel. I'm sure I'll find one soon enough. I'm also hunting for a dedicated shop building in my area where I can not only work on cars, but store them and sell them. Basically, I'd like to open a dealership where I can sell the vehicles that are featured on the channel. It's a bit of a pipe dream right now, especially with the real estate market the way it is. But I'm not going to give up on searching. I've also been toying around with the idea of beginning a subscription service called something like Practical Enthusiast Uncut, where I'll post unedited, full-length versions of the videos I put out today. I've had quite a few requests for videos at regular speed, so this could potentially fill an unmet demand. Starting a subscription service could help make the channel a bit more financially sustainable as well. And that brings 2021 to a close for the Practical Enthusiast YouTube channel. There are a lot of goals and lofty plans to execute on in 2022, but excitement comes from the unknown, and I think there's a lot of good times ahead. So with that, I'd like to extend a happy new year to all of you viewers, and we'll see you guys again in 2022.